Did you guys see our last video is, viral for us?
What do we got? What are the numbers?
We're at 800 something views, man.
Really?
Yeah, 800 some odd views.
For which one?
By far and away our most watched video yet.
This is Brooklyn Taylor, and you're watching the S38 Fire Team podcast. Go into the S38 podcast slush fund, take out $2,000, send us each our own road.
I'm counting the funds right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're at $4.
I'm trying to get noticed wiping my glasses with a $100 bill.
That's hilarious.
That's exactly something a rich person would say.
I've never played a second of Gran Turismo, and I need to play some Gran Turismo. I know that would get me excommunicated, but
I think I've eclipsed you in Gran Turismo 7 time, right? Even though I've done
me. So saying you eclipsed me in Gran Turismo monetary and time is Adam's like, guess what? You can only get $999 million in Gran Turismo. I was like, that's exactly what a rich person would say in Gran Turismo. By the way.
It's 100 million, A. And B, I found out that I think your garage is limited to 2,000 cars. So I guess I have to start doubling up on some to fill up the garage.
Real Gran Turismo 7 problems. We are here with Adam Armour, Brooklyn Taylor, S38 Fire Team. We are back in full effect. Adam, what's up? Talk to me.
Hello, everyone. This is Adam from Arizona, Slick Top City, Arizona. And today I am doubling my poster with my shirts.
T-shirt wars. It's T-shirt wars.
I like it.
All right, Brooklyn. You gonna let them get away with that?
Brooklyn here from the old line state of Maryland. Not where I'm from, but where I am. And today I have the S14 BMW M-Power t-shirt, the heralded powertrain of the E30 M3, probably the most legendary BMW ever.
I will agree with that, and I know that the viewers can see the winning shirt here. I mean, Gran Turismo. It's not often that I go out and purposely buy a shirt of a brand other than BMW and beer, but Gran Turismo qualifies. So, I love a good S14 shirt, and I like the hands in the air shirt right there. So, some tough, stiff competition. You guys acted like you were about to shoot blanks, and then you guys come out body blow. So, yeah. Listen, so what are we going to do this week on S38 Fire Team? Pretty cool episode. It just came to me in a dream one night. But a few weeks ago, we were talking about car design with the Alpha GTV 6 2.5. And it had some really cool styling cues that I think is part of those styling cues, are really absent from cars today. I seen this meme on the, Instagram or whatever, and it was like new car starter kit, and it had like the really thin LEDs. It had these big black wheels, a ginormous grill, and then I'm like driving around in real life, and I look and I'm like, every new big SUV looks exactly like that. They all look the exact same. Most cars look the same. They're all crossover little sport utes. But back in the day, when you had serious intentions for your high performance car, there was one thing, there was a box you could check, pun intended, that would signify visually your intentions, and that's box fenders, right? This was a big styling cue. And I would say it really became prominent just off of my memory. I'd say maybe 60s, 70s, when you see in a lot of touring class and showroom stock class, where you were allowed modifications to you were not allowed modifications to perhaps the length of the car or the wheelbase, but they allowed you to go wider. And so manufacturers would have to, the more tire, the more meat, the more contact patch you have, the more grip you're going to have in the corners and the more traction you have. So, and then you have to stretch those fenders over those wheels and tires. And it just makes for, it's basically what I need to be in life, which is in the gym, right? So when you see a guy that's like swole and he's like, that's like the car version of being like swole is box fenders. And we love that. Adam, what do you think?
When you posted that idea for us to talk about today, I really had to like go through a whole thinking process about it. And I was like, okay, where did they come from and what were they for? Because it's a unique styling cue, but it's not a very prevalent styling cue. And so I kept it very strict, and I did not include fender flares, and I did not include fender
curb feelers.
Yeah, I just didn't include like fender extensions or whatever. I went straight for the bodywork, which is the box fender. So anyway, in my head, I was trying to put together, where did this come from? And the first thing I thought of was like the Quattro, right? The very popular Group B car, right? And I sent you a photo of how we usually saw the Group B cars on a rally trail, surrounded by people in the road, and that sticks with me as like the most iconic way that box fenders were used. Like you said, we were trying to fit as much horsepower under stock bodywork as you possibly could. So because I kept it strict, there were very few examples that I could see that were like no kidding box fenders. But I think it's for a use. Obviously, some people do it for the looks, but I appreciate when it's done for practical purposes.
Absolutely. And I think that's the beauty of it. Its form is following function to the T. Brooklyn, you have on a shirt that has the engine of a car that really brought box fenders to fame. What is your take on it?
Yeah, the iconic E30 M3, that was boxed fenders for a purpose, just like the Audi Quattro and the a lot of other cars that did rally racing had boxed fenders because you could play some tricks with the track and put wider wheels and tires, and you're quadrupling the horsepower of the street car legally for homologation. And so the boxed fenders were form following function. They were purposeful, as my good friend Adam said. So I think that they're a great styling cue. I think that they have in most of the cars that we really love, I think that they've stood the test of time. An E30 M3 looks classic now. Some people did not buy them because they looked boy racer, quote unquote boy racer, compared to the 325 IS. So, I think that those designers, along with making a very legendary car, were vindicated in how good your cars from that era still look to this day.
Yeah, and that's what we want to do. We want to, on this channel, as the viewers, you guys have realized that we have a soft spot for cars of the yesteryear. Not that we don't like new cars too, because I was pushing a F90 M5 for the weekend a couple of weekends ago, which was quite exquisite. So we'll get to that on another episode. But let's see here. Who wants to kick it off? Adam. You always the man with the plan. You ready? You have to give the people what they want. You got to stop being so modest here, man.
Okay. Just to start off, when I started looking for box fender cars or box fender cars that really struck my interest, I tried to Google it, and it was sort of difficult to Google. So eventually I found a box fenders Facebook page, right? And that basically turned into an E30 M3 love fest. Every once in a while, there was another car kind of sprinkled in there. And then that kind of gave me some other ideas for trying to find other cars. Anyway, the first car, I want to discuss two cars. The first car that I really saw that was interesting and unique was the Mark II Volkswagen Golf Rally.
That's an interesting choice because I have, I'm very familiar with a lot of cars, but I was not overly familiar with that car.
Right.
How did you find that car?
Just lucky. It was on that Box Fenders Facebook page. And so apparently this was a sort of a homologation special, like we were talking about. And it had box fenders as opposed to almost all of the other the Volkswagen Golf cars. So that was super interesting to me. And is basically the predecessor for like the R32 or other sporty Volkswagens.
Yeah, this is here it is, and it is quite Mike Tyson thinks this thing is boxy. I mean, good night, nurse. Hey, I mean, look at that. I mean, and they don't even have the proper wheels.
So they sold this version.
I believe it's a Euro only version.
Huh. And it had the G60 engine in it?
They
a
might have
Corrado?
retrofitted that because I don't know. In Europe, they do all sorts of weird things.
That's good looking. That is right in the vein of the E30 M3.
Right?
Was it front wheel drive? Was it all wheel drive?
All-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive.
I'm sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
Yes, it was all-wheel drive, and that's sort of why they needed the box fenders to sort of fit that four-wheel drive system underneath the normally two-wheel drive vehicle.
Front wheel drive.
Sure. So anyway, I thought that was a really neat one that I hadn't really encountered before, and I think it's quite good looking. And gosh, I'll never look at another old Golf, Mark II Golf, 1 or 2 Golf, quite the same after seeing that this is available. But these are very uncommon in the United States. So you definitely wouldn't park next to one if you brought it to your favorite Volkswagen meet or Cars and Coffee or whatever other meat you're going to. So anyway, that was my first pick.
Nice.
My second pick.
That was a good one. Yeah, I just want to look at the rest of these pictures here.
Sure.
But to answer your question, Brooklyn, yeah, it is transverse. It's or is that longitudinally mounted? It's normally front wheel drive. But as you can see here, there's your drive shaft going back to the rear diff. And yeah, you're right. You could see why you got these big struts, why you would need the oh man, this is good looking. Look at that.
That really is. That would have sold like hotcakes in the United States of America. What year was this? Do you know, Wolf?
I think I want to say
it had to be mid 80s, late 80s.
Had to be around the same time.
Late 80s, early 90s, maybe.
Let me find out. Wouldn't it be something if BMW saw this and there were only a few of them and they were like, yeah, that's what we're doing?
Yeah.
I doubt the timing lines up, but that is very, very, if that was an Irobuni kit back in the day, I'd be like, oh, Irobuni makes an E30 M3 kit for Volkswagens. That's what it looks that much like it.
Yeah, it does, right? Especially in the red. And, this is the next generation Golf right here. Rabbit.
There you go.
Yep. So it still kind of kept, as Adam was saying, it has the fender flares there, but it kept the same 3-box type design, or 2-box, 2.5, 1.5, whatever you want to call it. But you can see the similarities there. But solid.
That's a great looking car.
And I know a lot about cars, but I definitely did not know about that car. So you get extra kudos for anytime I run into a car or I find out about a car that I did not know existed, unless it was from communist Russia or something like that. That doesn't count. But if it's a car that's from a popular manufacturer, known manufacturer, that's a pretty big deal when you get schooled on that. Even though obviously I know about a Volkswagen Golf. So next,
yeah, I love that. That's great.
Well, I just wanted to give a little bit of inside baseball, maybe for the crowd here that's watching. But I think it's funny, and I'm probably jinxing it now, but I think it's funny how we don't really get together on what our inputs are going to be, except for sending a little bit of a preemptive strike to our host,
Right.
Drezoom, for being able to present. But it seems like we don't really get in each other's way, right? So that's sort of where I try. That's sort of where I try and go with these, with picking these cars, is trying to miss where I think you might go, because I have an idea of what box fender car Carl will do, right? But I'll just leave that to him. Anyway, for my second car, I wanted to talk about a very another sort of esoteric, relatively unknown car. It's a Lancia 037 Stradale. I'm not sure how you pronounce that.
Stradale. It's Stradale.
Right. So this was also sort of a homologation special, and I think this is like right on the ragged edge of box fenders, right? I think it's almost like a boxy car, but if you see that front fender there, if you go back just one more.
Let me go back.
Go up.
Go back.
Up.
Nice looking car.
One more. That one. Okay, so right in front of the front fender there, you can see, how it's kind of like protruding away from the door and the rest of the fender, right? And then you can't really see it from this angle, but the back, it's sort of like the where the doors are is thinner than the front and the rear, right?
Silhouette,
so sort of
or not the silhouette, but the profile is different.
Yeah, sort of like a Coke bottle shape if you looked at it from the top.
Yeah.
And I sort of think that is like a box fender specialty, right?
That passes muster. As box fenders.
Right. So I saw this beautiful car, and you can see how much it sold for. I mean, good night. Definitely a special car.
Oh, look at that view.
Yeah.
Mm.
So like we were saying, sort of purpose built and built for performance, and just a beautiful car, and I think really highlights the styling cues of the box fender, and sort of what it was for, and the fact that you can take the livery off this car, paint it red, Italian red, and throw it on the showroom floor, race it on Sunday, sell it on Monday in spectacular fashion. And it just has a beautiful name as well, of course. So that's my second pick, this Lancia Stradale.
Stradale definitely sounds like something that your wife would order at Cheesecake Factory, and it costs too much, and she's not going to eat all of it. I want the Stradale. And you're like, you didn't eat it the last damn time we came here.
Yes, we're getting a box.
Right. But when you shot me the Stradale, and something that I missed, and on our last podcast can't reveal what that was about, but this wheel right here, as you can see, I love that Italian. There's a name for these wheels that have the circles in them, and the GTV has it, and this has it, and the Lamborghini. There's a Lamborghini that had it as well.
Not the phone dials, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like phone dials, but smaller. It's like a spaghetti strainer almost or something. But yeah, great pick. Not an unknown car to me. I definitely knew about this because I've played Gran Turismo. Yeah, and this is a good picture right here, Adam, where you can see how it goes in and then comes out, and that rear wing. I mean, like, do they store the car standing straight up and down? Like what? Jeez. Oh man, that's awesome, man. Good ones. I like that. Very solid. Group B era. Extra points for being Italian for sure, and triple points for being red, because that really sells the race red aspect of it. So I like that. Good stuff.
You know what Stradale means in Italian?
I didn't look it up.
If you tell me it means Cheesecake Factory dessert, I'm gonna flip.
It means road going. Stradale.
Like straddle the road.
Road going. No, it's for the road. Road going.
Stradale. I just like the way that it goes off my tongue. So
because there was an Alfa Romeo or something called the Strada. Strada means the road. Stradale is an adjective and it means della strada, so of the road. Or also translated to road going. That is your Italian lesson for today.
Those Italians are always so literal, you know.
Very.
Only if they put that much thought into making the cars work really good. Yeah, right. Zing. All right, Brooklyn. I'll anchor this. So you tell me about your picks, or you can comment it some more on Adam's.
The Stradale was a great pick. I got nervous when I initially saw and heard him say Lancia, because we're such a hive mind. One of my picks, my first pick, is the Lancia Integrale. The Lancia Delta Integrale.
Lancia.
Evo 2.
Lancia, it's Lancia. I'm 0.0001% Italian. It's Lancia, trust me.
Thank you, Carl Soprano. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Benito Mussolini. I appreciate
the correction. Lancia.
So
let me launch you into this segment. I picked it because I always think about this vehicle, even though I've seen very few of them in real life. I believe at a shout out to Katie's Cars and Coffee in Great Falls, Virginia, is the kind of place that you can see one of these. Just look at it. I was gonna try to pick a white one to show off the lines, but this color blue is just gorgeous to me. I love seeing these cars. I don't know how well a 6'4", 245-pound man fits in them, but I would try. These cars are super cool looking. They're super popular. I don't believe we ever got them here.
No, they were great marketing as far as I know.
Right. So I don't believe we ever got them here. They are great shape. As you can see, it has true box fenders on each end. And I just think this is exactly that design. It was obviously a rally car. Obviously right up the alley of what we're talking about. That shot right there is a perfect version of it. I don't have much more to say on it. I just love the design. This was all-wheel drive. This is an Evo 2 version, so either the penultimate or the ultimate version of these cars. We should have got them here, but we got some Lancias, but I think just like the convertible,
I think the base models,
that we didn't get anything like any Integrale, but we got the Roadsters.
Good choice.
What do you think?
Yeah, I it's again rally roots, and going back to what I originally said, what was the purpose behind these widened fenders and these is to increase the track and therefore increases stability, and you can stuff more tire under there, and it just looks, you can almost put box fenders if you're done right on a Geo Metro, and and if you do it right, it just looks killer. Most rally cars, especially of that era and even today, they're really the most pedestrian version of them that a manufacturer has. Who's big in rally right now? Like Peugeot has been big.
Yeah.
Not Kia, Hyundai. Hyundai's big in rally these days, and it's these little economy cars, compact cars, and when you add all the race bits to them, you get a car like this with a rear wing that is again standing straight up and down. It looks like a speed brake on a McLaren 720. All sorts of vents, louvers,
vents,
Lancia. They're not going to let you forget that they're Italian. Chrome grille. Thank you very much. Beautiful red trim. They just don't make cars like this anymore. This is you got the shadow line, and if you notice here again, how it curves down. It curves down right here, and that's just, again, just giving that bulldog stance. I love it, man. I did almost pick this. I did almost pick this. So I don't know if you've ever sat in one of these, but I was in a showroom that had one, and just even the way the door shuts and the smells, very 80s, very Italian, much reminiscent of, the cars that we love. So good pick. Adam?
I love the wheels. The wheels are terrific on this car. I really like that style. And if you'll keep on this shot, actually, what I really like about this car is that in a rally situation, this would have been a two-door car, right? So this would have been an uninterrupted fender, right? But for this car, they went ahead and made it four-door, and then that styling cue remains the same, and that is not easy to do. It's a really awkward shape for a door.
It is. Yeah.
Doggone, does it look great. It just looks terrific.
Yeah.
And I just echo you guys' love for this thing. It's really a great shape, and not as fancy as the Stradale, but still I saw this one as well.
How many do you own in Gran Turismo?
I don't know, honestly. All of them.
How many do you own in real life? All of them. All right, good, yeah, good, solid pick there. All right, so how are you going to follow that up, Brooklyn?
I'm going to follow it up, and I'm sure by now you have a photo of me with a selfie of this car. So Ray will superimpose that somewhere. But I'm going to follow it up with none other than possibly the most legendary Porsche of all time, the Porsche 959. This car was purpose-built to be a world changer, a world beater, an all-wheel drive, turbocharged powerhouse with all the technology. Love that shot. All the technology in the world. It takes a 911, it puts it on steroids. It makes it a vampire. This car was just murderous, right? Look at those fenders. Every Porsche 911 that came after this thing was an approximation. Every Carrera 4, every Carrera 4S, every turbo was trying to follow up on the cachet of the Porsche 911. I love this design. I've actually heard people say that it's ugly or unattractive or wieldy. I don't believe that. So I believe it is a beautiful, beautiful car with an amazing design and functional at that. So yeah, this to me is, and actually I remembered that there was a boxed fender site, but I didn't find it today, but I just started writing down lists of boxed fendered cars, and there were so many. And at the top of my list was the Porsche 959 and the Lancia Integrale. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Adam?
Unpopular opinion, but I think it's a little too smooth and bulbous to be a box fender, but I do appreciate the choice.
I knew that was coming.
I love this car. So I mean, I will not hate on it. I will just that's my opinion on this matter, that I don't believe it's a box fender, but I do appreciate the like we were talking about earlier, the Coke bottle shape, how the doors are regular, and then the fenders are oversized in order to match the wheels and tires, the four-wheel drive, all of which this thing has, that get it ready for racing.
I have other cars in my pocket. If I get overruled on this.
I don't, hang on. We'll get to the credits in a second, but I too think that this skirts on the edge, no pun intended, of box fenders. It is more of a bulbous shape. and less of a defined crease where the box would normally happen. But, you know, you make up for it in droves just because you can see where it's widened and where they had to make accommodations for that. And also, so far, if my math is correct, my Duval County math, every car that we've presented so far has rally roots. Am I right or wrong? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every car has rally roots. A fun fact about the 959, and I know we talked about it in another episode, and I might have mentioned this, but it was actually designed. It was the initial design of that car was based on rallying, not road going. So, but yeah, good choice. Good choice. We'll we'll let you try to redeem yourself at the end, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there.
I have my choices. I bet you picked one of the ones that I have in mind, but let's go. It's your
turn. I'm trying not to repeat any cars that we picked in the past, and we've talked about quite a few box fender cars in other episodes. So I tried not to regurgitate anything that we've done in the past, but we shall see. So I've said enough about the box fenders and the reasoning and the impetus behind it all. So I really want you guys to get a hold of what I'm about to show you, okay? Because I'm telling you, you think that it's only in rallying in the 80s that you have box fenders? Watch this. Bam, 2022 Nissan Rogue. Why are your faces so sad? Why are your faces...
Friendship over.
This better be a prank.
All right. Okay. Listen. For the record, I want to tell you that the Nissan Rogue does have box fenders, at least in the rear.
Is this episode sponsored by Nissan? It better be. It better be to sneak a Nissan Rogue in here.
It has a box-ish fender, you know.
Oh, you're gonna get a box. You're gonna get an old-fashioned Jamaican box.
Are you saying that the 2022 Nissan Rogue and the Porsche 959 are not in the same design category? All right.
This is a garbage pick.
Not so eloquent as you're dropping that piece of opinion. Hot take. All right, let me squeeze one more in. All right. Now, you guys,
tell us what you if you are seriously picking the 2022 Nissan Rogue, tell us what you love about that design.
It does have box fenders, but I also want to show it. The Toyota 4Runner, hear me out. It has box fenders. I just want to show you that from a design standpoint, it qualifies. Okay, this qualifies. Have you guys studied a Nissan or a Toyota 4Runner?
Seen them, of course.
This is true box fenders here. Same premise, right? No race pedigree for a 4Runner, unless you were racing to the strip mall, okay? But box fenders to accommodate for wider tires, all season tires, because you got to drive it year round. But this is, can we get, we're in agreement here, right?
Toyota 4Runner, no racing, just racism.
Dude, all right. We can go. Oh man, now this is
I looked up this version, that 40th anniversary, and I wanted to love the stripe, as a fan of Starsky and Hutch, and it's kind of a throwback, and it's definitely a TRD colors. I don't know if it serves it up, but I do have to agree with you that the 4Runner does indeed have boxed fenders.
Okay, that's all I'm going for here.
And and the Sequoia, the last generation, not this current one, but
Sequoia,
the Sequoia from that generation also seem to have box fenders. Actually, I think the new one does as well, but cool looking. The old ones were cool looking.
All right, well, we stopped kidding around. Let's just get to the winner. Ferrari 288 GTO. Again, kind of talked about it in a previous episode.
I was going to pick that one. That's a good one.
This might be my second favorite Ferrari of all time. And it's most certainly my favorite version of the 308, 328. I think that's all they had in those. But the 288 GTO is, and this is the money shot, as they call it. And I will, Adam, before you jump all over me, it does fall in the same vein as the Porsche 959 in terms of it's more Coke bottle and less Lego set, if you will. But it does it so well. And my argument is this: if I'm on retainer for Ferrari and we're being adjudicated for whether or not these are actually box fenders, this is really an evolution of box fenders, because you really got to think about it when you see those sharp creases, and BMW was able to take that with the E31, the sharp creases, and incorporate it and make it look beautiful. They really were. But in this instance, for the purpose of aerodynamics, aesthetics, and just flat out good looks, what would be boxed creased fenders, you have these, it's almost like a nicely shaped woman, right? It's got and you can't deny that. It's such a beautiful shape. And I think that it's a proper evolution of the box fenders. And maybe this red doesn't really highlight it too much, but you can certainly use your imagination to fill in what the red is erasing from you. But if you look at a standard 308, Ferrari 308, you can slide it right inside there. You can even see right where the flying buttress comes down right here and how much more it extends over here.
I was going to say, if you park a 308 next to that car, I bet you clearly be able to see. I'm sure there's a photo somewhere. It would look like a 308 had a body kit on it, but that's a great looking car, man.
Yeah, this is an 85 apparently. Twin turbo V8, same engine that's in the Ferrari F40. I mentioned that before. And it goes like stink, and of course this was homologated, and to keep our streak alive, discounting my Nissan Rogue and Toyota 4Runner picks, I want to say that these were even they were rally raced for a minute. Might have been the regular 308 or could have been a GTO, but these were definitely road raced during that era. And the they have a name for these wheels, I can't pronounce it, but the wheels, and they're the same wheels on the F40, right? Maybe just a little bigger.
No, they're similar, but they're not the same.
Okay. Well, the styling cue just on on this car that I really loved, two of the styling cues was the raised, because they couldn't, if the side mirror was lowered, they had to add this extension because you couldn't see around the arches. So they had to raise the mirrors up, and the car was lower, so they had to raise the mirrors up. And then the dual fog lights, which were really headlights, so you didn't have to pop up the headlights, you could just turn those on, and it was just it looks like you were saying, it looks like a Ferrari 308 that that worked out with Barry Bonds for years and years and years. Got everything, the lotion, the injections, the big head, it got it all. I love this car.
It's a great looking car. And to your point about the mirrors and the shape, the silhouette in the back, it reminds me of when the 21st century poet, then known as Mos Def, said, "Her ass is so fat that you could see it from the front."
Yeah.
It's that kind of design. I think all the greatest car designs are designed in a way like a curvaceous woman.
Corvette, the C3 Corvette is has that effect if you really look at
Jaguar E-Type.
Yeah, all shaped like a very curvaceous woman, or a man if you're from East Russia. I don't know. So, all right, what's my next choice here to round it out? Since you guys did not, Adam,
I just wanted to comment on your pick. I think it's a great pick. I really like that you pointed out that it's more Coke bottle than Lego set. I think that is the perfect way to describe it. And I, being literal, was sticking to Lego set. And I think from my poster here and the E9, I mean, we can see that the box fender is really like kind of a harsh shape, all right?
Right.
And that works on the racetrack, okay? But it's very difficult to soften that just right for the regular public, okay? Not too many people are going to be, huge fans of just like this big old like protruding right angle. They want something a little softer, a little more bulbous. And I would really like to see that 308
Comparison.
versus 308 GTO comparison, because I think they're both beautiful cars, but seeing like the caricature of this bigger, muscular car is really a good comparison.
Yeah, it's it's a 308, and they got a lifetime membership to Gold's Gym. During the Mr. Universe contest and something. That's what it just always reminds me of that. That's what I always think of. So what's next?
Let me say one thing. It's such a departure that I never connect the 288 GTO with the 308 and the 328. I never do. For me, it's a different car. It's, Ferrari has these subtle things where they'll make a F355 into a 360 Modena into a F430, but I just never make the connection, because the GTO, you can see the transaxle from behind it. It's just a big race car. I always consider it a different race car, but now that you mention it, it is a bulky, bigger brother.
Yeah, it's a beast. It's a beast, and it's a race car for the streets, and that's in the vein of where, I'd like to say, maybe we'll do an episode about the heyday of Ferrari or some of the best Ferrari cars, but that one's ingrained in my memory for sure. What else we got here? How do we want to round this out? How can I top a Porsche 959, a Lancia Integrale, how can a Ferrari GTO? Well, there is one car that is synonymous with box fenders, and I think that I have to shout it out, because not only is it synonymous with box fenders, it is also on my short list of next cars to acquire. I have seemingly fell in love with E30 M3s over the last I don't know. And when I fall in love with a car and the finances get right or get lined up, I pull the trigger, but that's another episode, another conversation for another day. But if you just look at
I would love if we did an episode about the Hunt. Does this car have Alpina wheels?
I think it does. Yeah,
I
think it does. Yeah.
That's nice.
There. Yeah.
That's a nice look on that.
Yeah,
Alpina had a version of the E30 M3.
This picture is, I seen it first, a couple things. One, this guy's got 32 teeth smile going on. Two, you can just see the meatiness of those Alpinas are probably, I don't know if they're E36 fitment or whatever the case may be, but it's beefy, and tail out or bail out. I just love it. And more important, the most important part is that you can see the arch flares, the box flares there, the box fenders. It's just, and it's relatively subtle, considering what we've seen today. But the regular E30 has such a, I don't want to call it narrow, but it's such a straight line design on the side that it really stands out, even the most layman can figure out that an E30 M3 is vastly different than a pedestrian E30, and it just works so well with the 3-box design of the E30. It's just box on top of box on top of box on top of fenders, and it's it's the crazy thing about box fenders and the homologation is that you're not really doing anything groundbreaking. You're taking a regular car and you're putting race bits on it, and then you're selling it. So it wasn't exactly rocket science. You just knew you had to put all of these things on there. So a lot of form over function, and then a lot of function over form, and then the form ends up being the winner of the show. So
Right.
That is why I have picked the E30 M3 box fender king. Right?
I won't disagree. As a matter of fact, when, like I said, I found the Facebook page for box fenders, and it was an E30 M3 love fest. Not that I don't like that. I mean, that's, it's probably the best example, as you pointed out. And but what I thought about was this competition, and I thought about stuff like the 190E, the Mercedes 190E. Those didn't have box fenders, right? They had fender flares, like the Evo 2 had fender flares, right? But it didn't have box fenders like this, and that doesn't take away from its looks necessarily, but I mean, you can't argue that this has massive presence, both on the strip, on the racetrack, and on the street. So I think it's a great pick. I'm really interested in this conversion of Dre spec to red M cars, but I will leave that for another episode. But yes, a great pick, and I can't wait until you can find your way into one
soon, very, very soon. Hopefully, one day, maybe soon.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's a great choice for you. The color options. I do not like those wheels in this particular example. Those are what, the E38. E38. I don't know why anyone who can afford an E30 M3 should not be putting those wheels to do anything but to roll it into the garage while your real wheels are at the wheel shop getting refurbished. And if you stick around, I'll tell you how I really feel. I do like the plaid interior there. I thought it was houndstooth for a second, but I think it's plaid. Oh,
this shared the same wheels as the E28 M5, correct?
I'm sorry.
The E30 M3 shared the same wheels as the E28 M5.
Not all years. Not all years.
Okay.
The earlier years
had very similar.
Yeah, they had 15-inch style fives the earlier years.
I see.
And then the later years they bumped up an inch to 16-inch style fives.
Right.
So
sorry for the sidebar.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, they do look natural on those same wheels that the E28 M5 came with. Because of offsets, I owned a pair that I owned a set that I believe went to the Wolf later, but I've tried them on my E24 M6 and they just weren't the same.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same effect because of offsets. Yeah, great looking car. I do not know why you chose that one. Maybe in post you can put a car with decent wheels in there.
Well, the thing is, you can find a lot, but when you find website, a lot of them have a bunch of flashy ads and a bunch of horse shit on the page. So
okay, gotcha.
I was trying to find ones that could pop up a real nice picture. Adam, are we gonna allow Brooklyn to come back in on the back end?
Hold on, let me give some other also Rands that I had considered. All right, sure. So I had the Quattro, obviously.
All right.
We mentioned the E31, the Renault Turbo. I thought for sure you would have picked that.
I already did it. We already did an episode.
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, when you gave that response, I figured you wouldn't. The Ford Capri.
Oh,
the old ones.
Yeah.
Subaru Impreza 22B.
Yep. Oh, damn it! I should have picked that one.
Yeah, so there's great cars
I
out
have
there.
it on my list as well. Yellow and blue and gold livery. So I am going to throw in a design that we're all very familiar with. We've all had hands-on, worked on this, the BMW 850 CSI, the 850i, 850 Ci, and 850 CSI all had this same shape.
Same body.
And these boxed fenders, and it, to me, it is beautiful. To me, it is tough. It's butch, but yet elegant. A lot has been said about these cars, and these cars, I believe, get more attractive as time passes and get more appreciated. This is boxed fenders. It's actually what I was going to choose, but I put the 959 over my own personal attachment to my 850 and chose that. But since it has been vetoed,
It hasn't been vetoed.
by
We just
my
said
colleagues,
it hasn't been vetoed. We just said that sucks and you can't use that one.
I like the rear fenders on the E31 the most. I think that box fender is perfect. I think it's just the best hint of like the what's underneath,
100% in agreement. The E31 embodies, remember what I was talking about, right? Like the E30 and the Lancia. It's very like a factory worker on Wednesday made the stamp, and then somebody came in on Thursday, and then he put the box fenders on there. The E31 is really like they were able to incorporate the smooth design and still have that hint of the hard edge. So, elegance, it's like a bodybuilder in a tux.
that's perfect.
I'd also like to point out that, and I mentioned this before, but the predecessor to the E31, the 6 Series that they did as a body and put the V12 in, that one had huge box fenders.
Right.
So they knew this was going to be a big car before they ever built it.
Right.
And I just love that this styling cue came through. I mean,
I would surmise that they didn't intend to put box fenders on the 8. And then when they were driving around in the test mule, they were like, yo, it's like, we've got to incorporate that, The designers was like, oh, yeah, like for sure,
Well, this is also right on the heels of the dominance of the E30 M3 and DTM.
Right. And
so it would be very easy. It would be very easy to be like, oh, well, we should probably have this styling cue carry over to our Halo car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally E30, E31. It's literally the next design.
Right.
And this is beautiful. And you were talking about how hard it is to do box fenders in 4-door cars. If you ever notice the E36s with the Pandem kit, it always looks, you never see them with the 4-door E36 or even the E30. It's always a 2-door because you have to account for the gas in the back. And look how this is shaped. When's the last time you seen a gas door that has 3 angles to it? Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a great point.
All right, I guess you redeemed yourself.
Hey, hey, and remember everything I said about the E30 M3? I take all of that back. An 850 CSI, that's my next move. A white one even.
They look great in white.
Yeah, they do. I love it. I think that in any Ford, BMW, Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Mercedes, any of you manufacturers out there want to employ us three, the S38 Fire Team, and we can get you back to the heydays, right? We've covered everything. We know what the people want, or at least we know what us three want, and that's most important.
We want what the people want. The people want what we want. Wait a minute. So was the M1, did the M1 have box fenders or just fender flares?
I think it was just fender flares.
In the race versions. There weren't flares in the street versions. Very cool though.
As usual, very, very good stuff. I think that at first you guys see me put in the chat. I was like, I don't know if the box flare or box fender episode has enough meat on it, but I'm going to play Gran Turismo right after this. It's just been, the design elements of those cars have followed, maybe not in droves, but at least in spirit into, the SUVs were kind of like tongue in cheek, but it's still the same principle of where you want to accentuate the width of a car to give it more presence, and it works so well. And that was really born and bred out of necessity for making a street car a race car. So absolutely beautiful cars and great choices. Adam, what do you have to say? Closing thoughts.
If you guys agree with us, you should tell us so. Or if you disagree and we missed a key car that should have been included, please tell us in the comments. And if you are liking what we say, go ahead and push that like button. But this has been a great episode. I wasn't exactly prepared for this one this morning, and it was great to prepare for it. And I don't know, I think I did okay, and you guys did well as well. So I think that these kind of stretch subjects that are kind of outside of our normal car obsessions are great exercise, and I really appreciate you guys' inputs.
Yeah, right on. Brooklyn, could you're the brand ambassador here. We've got to get our subscribership up. Talk to the people, please.
Listen, by now, you have seen several episodes of the S38 Fire Team podcast. Perhaps you still don't understand what that name means, but you've tuned in anyway. So what we'd like you to do is like this episode, share it, and go ahead and subscribe. We have an infinite amount of great automotive talk coming to you continuously. So join us again.
Listen, I couldn't say it any better. This is Dre Zoom. That's Adam Armour, Brooklyn Taylor, S38 Fire Team